and I don't know how much they told you or how much you want to know, but I really feel like the impact, it took her pretty quickly. Did they try to, it took them a little while to find her. Does this make sense? And they're telling me that, were you the one, someone was calling saying, we haven't heard from her. We can't get her. And I feel like this is where they're putting a search out, but it took a few hours. They're showing me.
You and me, chasing down forever after.
Hello, and welcome to Grieving to Believing. I'm Deb Sheppard. There is no greater loss than that of a child, no matter their age or circumstances at the time of their passing. My mission is to bring parents peace and to help them heal, knowing their loved ones are okay and that they are still giving them messages. Besides knowing a mother or father has lost a child, I do not know who we'll be reading for today. So please join me as we get started. Hi, I'm Deb Sheppard. Good to see you. What's your name?
I'm Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn. First of all, you look way too young to have lost a child. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. That's very nice. And
yeah.
Thank you.
But I'm honored that you're here to be able to make these connections and hopefully give some healing and peace to you and to our audience as well. So you feel intuitive yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I feel like I'm talking to another guru, so which makes my job a lot easier. So we'll go to get started. Now, all mediums are a little bit different. For me, I use all my senses to be able to make those connections. So hopefully the things that come through will be validated for you, and I'll allow you to ask any questions at the end too if something has not been answered for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Huge heart you have. I feel like, are you also a healer or a giver for other people, a person that takes care of others?
Yeah.
Because
more so since my child crossed.
Okay. And I'm sorry about that. Wow. You have quite a few people around you that have passed. The first thing I'm getting is a very strong child. Did you lose a daughter?
Yes.
But she doesn't feel, I'm not going to use the word graceful, but I feel like she is definitely a powerhouse. Would that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And she feels not quite an adult, but grown up. Does that make sense to you? Okay. She's also feeling, can get along with almost anybody. Girls, boys, whatever, she could just play whatever part she needed. Definitely an individual that could show up and hold her own. I don't feel like she would be a girl that goes, you need to take care of me. I feel like this is a girl that could take care of everybody else around her. Yes. So the apple did not fall far from the tree with her too. What's your daughter's first name?
Cara.
Cara. Okay. Oh my goodness. She has, I almost feel like she thought she was invincible at some point. This is a person that could take on things, maybe not so much the warrior, but an individual for sure that could stand in her own power, have her own voice. You didn't raise a daughter that was weak by any means. I feel like she was definitely that strong girl that stood up for what she believed in many different ways. Was her passing more unexpected?
Yes.
When I was meditating on this may not be Cara. Was someone murdered?
No.
Would she have known someone that would have been killed?
I can't think of somebody offhand right now.
That's okay. What I was getting earlier, and this may be around here, I may just be interpreting it not correctly, but this feels like, did she die at the hands of somebody else or someone else's choices?
No.
Okay, I'm going to stick with it because there's certainly something there that she's trying to say to me, and I'll try to figure out more details with it because it was very, very strong about how she crossed over. But I also feel with her, this came out of the blue for everybody. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I feel like we're not prepared. We're not expecting this. This is not something it was in your radar. There's also a sense of it happening. I keep getting it happening to her, though. It's something happening to her. So I'm going to leave that with you because this is what she's saying to me. She says there's been a lot of questions around her death prior to or right after her death. There were just some curiosity, like, how did this happen? Why did this happen? So I feel like there was just some really unanswered questions. Perhaps by now you've gotten some answers, but I just feel like there was just so many questions to the journey of her death. She's also feeling that she was unprepared. I feel like there's a feeling of being unprepared for her as well. She also feels she's using the term, which I would not use, no pain, no gain. And that to me is more about her attitude in life, but also not feeling a lot of pain in her passing. So I feel like the passing for her is very much unexpected, that it happened extremely quick. She's not taking responsibility. So I'm assuming this is not a suicide. Is this correct?
Correct.
Okay. I think this is why she was bringing up to me these other things that were happening, like it's like an unsolved case at one point. She's got this huge smile on her face. I also feel she was a person that her passing was a ripple effect in the community. Like so many people were touched by her passing because this does not happen to this individual. If it happens to her, it can happen to anybody. Sometimes we think to ourselves, you know, when I read this story or I read in the paper, this happens to other people. This doesn't happen to me. And that's why I keep getting for her. It's like, this was so far out of our reach. This is an individual too, that I'm seeing locked arms. You know how teams or peers will be really united and really connected. I feel like she had her community. She wasn't a lone wolf. She wasn't a person that hung out just by herself. She did have a great support system, a great community. She's also talking about her grades. I feel like she was smart, maybe not always as studious, maybe as all of us can be, but also felt like she did her part. She did what was necessary. She gave her very best. But she also I keep getting outdoors was important, being outdoors, being with community, being, keep getting this idea of freedom, this idea of feeling, I don't want to be locked in a room. I don't want to be behind a desk. So that was her too. It's like, don't put, even in classrooms, maybe, get me here, but I want to be hands-on. I want to learn on a hands-on kind of community. She says there's a lot been written about her or things written or talked about with her since her passing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So whether it's friends or community or whether it's the medical community, I don't know, but I just keep getting everyone wrote about her or journaled or talked about her situation. She has a medium-sized dog with her. Would that make sense?
Yes.
Has Grandma and Grandpa also passed since her passing?
Grandpa passed.
Okay.
I'm sorry, just a tiny bit before her.
Okay, because I feel like I keep getting ancestors with her. She's with other ancestors as well. The feeling I get is big heart. I feel she played full out. This is not a person that was a wallflower by any means. She's not going to sit back and watch what's happening. She is going to participate. And she's laughing. She goes, even if people didn't want me to participate, I was there. I'm a game player. I'm the one in there, deciding how to do this and how to be involved.
She passed in a car accident driving up the canyon outside of Boulder, Colorado, where we live. And this was January 11th, 2020. She actually, I think it was, it could have been the 10th into the 11th. She transitioned around midnight. And she left a friend's home who lives a couple blocks from us and was supposed to come home. I had already fallen asleep, and she decided to drive up to another friend's house who lives up in the canyon. We live in Boulder, so we are right on the edge of the mountains. And I believe she was supposed to pick up some friends who didn't have a ride home from that girl's home. So she was driving up the canyon to pick them up and to bring them back. And then I woke up. That was around like 11:30, 12. I woke up around 2 and she wasn't home, and started contacting all of her friends. And so finally found out that she was driving up to this other friend's home, got that address and drove up. And that's when I drove up and did not see the car, met that friend, and the two of us drove back. And that's when we saw the car. And we went to find her, and she was already transitioned.
She feels she is pretty. I mean, this is a pretty girl. I mean, I look at you, Carolyn, and you're a beautiful woman. I feel like she was pretty, but she didn't base her opinions of others based on her appearance. I feel like that was not what was a priority. So many other things were a priority to her. And I feel like I'm getting rough housing. I don't know if she had brothers or not, but I really feel like she got in there. She goes, yeah, I'm not the girly girl. You know, you want me on your side because I'm going to take you down. I'm going to be competitive. So there's also a sense of being very competitive. And this isn't the part where she's not willing to lose, but I feel like, you know, whether it's a board game or a card game or sports or whatever, she's going to give it her full focus. And it's almost like, yeah, don't bet against me because you may not win for sure. So that sense, I'm having problems with my knees or joints. Did she have like an injury at one point or something that was affecting her? Or because I feel like she would just suck it up. Like, I'm not going to let injuries or a bruise. I mean, there's just no girly energy around her whatsoever this way. Could she get dressed up and could she present herself? Absolutely. But I'm kind of sensing I'll put those clothes on, I'll put some lip gloss on, and I'm good to go. It's like I'm not going to do all these other things to get out there. The feeling I get too is, did you feel like this could have been prevented, her death?
Probably, yeah. Well, I kind of do.
Okay. Was this related to her health on some level?
No.
Okay. That's what I keep getting. I'm probably going to ask you how she passed. How old was she?
How old? She was 16.
16. Oh, yeah. She's like going, like, watch out, I'm on the road is what I'm sensing too. Was this by chance an accident that happened? Okay. This is why she was telling me a murder or it happening to her or not her fault or this happening. It's like an accident that happened and that it could have been preventable. And her being, 16, was she actually in a vehicle when this happened?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's what she was trying to share with me. In her mind, you know, we're all scared as parents when our children are out there driving for the first time, or, you know, even when they're driving for years, that whole idea of what's going on. I'm getting a sense that it's a time change or it's a little darker out. Does that make sense during her? Okay. Because I'm not able to have a very good view of what's happening during the accident. So whether someone's running a red light or whether, you know, she's not seeing what's going on or someone's not seeing her, I'm seeing that this is also a visual issue. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't feel that she was doing anything wrong. Like, I don't see her drinking and driving. I see her paying attention as much as possible. Was this a place where someone like was this at a four-way stop or at a place where you can't see around the corner?
It was a curve.
A curve. Okay. Because I feel like someone's not seeing. So in the beginning, when she feels like this was a murder, in her opinion, that's sort of the way she's describing this. Now, this wasn't a traditional someone went out to kill her, but this was definitely where the visual, it's night, she's not an experienced driver, where these things happen. She's also saying that I feel like she was supposed to leave earlier or something about the timing of her driving. It could have been more prevented depending on the time of day or when she was supposed to be home or at school or at work. Does that make sense?
She was supposed to come home and she went for this ride instead.
Okay, that's where I'm getting the apology, where she's taking on some responsibility, but I feel like I'm the 16-year-old, I'm out there, I'm doing, I'm feeling like I'm free. And that's definitely her personality of wanting to be this free spirit for sure, not realizing the consequences. Does someone go over the line?
No. Well,
Does she go off the road?
she did go off the road. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I keep seeing her go, okay, like going over the line, or I feel like I'm recorrecting my driving. So she's bringing this up as, overcorrecting, not experienced. And I'm seeing it almost, is it her car spinning or turning?
It went down an embankment.
Okay. So whether it rolled or whatever, I'm getting this kind of spinning. And she's laughing. And I don't mean to be laughing at the situation. The words I get from her is, oh, you know what, mom's going to be pissed. Because I feel like and I even feel a seatbelt on. I feel like she's taking precautions the way she's supposed to. Just to me, just feels like an inexperienced driver that is thinking I'm going to be okay. And that's her personality. She's the one that's out there. She's, like, you don't bet against me. I'm going to be able to do this. And I actually feel that this drive wasn't very long. It might have been 15 miles out, or just a small drive out, that she thought she could just do this and come on back, and not realizing do they believe that something darted in front of her?
We believe that.
Okay, because I keep seeing the overcorrecting, and if she crossed, the line or whatever, again, I think it's that overcorrection of that, the animal trying to respond to something, and here it is, the dusk or the time, it's a little bit more night, so you can't see as well. And I feel like this feels like 2 lanes, but up ahead it goes to 3, or the lanes changes being wider. Does that make any sense on the road?
I'm not 100% sure. It was 2 lanes where she was, but I'm not sure if it widens further up.
Because I feel like the lanes kept kind of changing on this area too. And I'm hearing her, like, with music, really feeling joy, just feeling this excitement of, I've got my license, I've got this going on. And I don't know how much they told you or how much you want to know, but I really feel like the impact, it took her pretty quickly. Did they try to, it took them a little while to find her. Does this make sense? And they're telling me that, were you the one, someone was calling saying, we haven't heard from her, we can't get her. And I feel like this is where they're putting a search out, but it took a few hours, they're showing me, to find her.
I couldn't find her, and I was calling friends to find out where she was, and went out to find her.
Okay. She's apologizing to you. So even though this wasn't a murder, I feel like her death was definitely one of those things of, it was preventable on so many different levels of, choices and things like that. And is she moving stuff in your house?
She has done that. Yes. Mostly to my husband.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I feel like she's sort of like playing tricks on people in that way of having that fun. Like, yeah, I'm here. I'm haunting you. I'm not gone. I'm still doing this. Also, this sense to me is either deciding to be an advocate for, or talking to young people about driving. And so whether you have talked to people or this is something that you participated in, but I feel like that's been part of your journey to help others, as well as to talk about this. Like, this is how quickly it can happen with, getting a license and not being an experienced driver. However, I feel like she was a pretty confident driver.
She was.
I feel like I could be in the car with her and not be wanting to hit, the driver's side or the steering wheel with her. Yeah, she was very confident. And so her taking a little joyride, it was not not a thing that I would question very much, because I felt like she knew what she was doing. And I don't feel like she would take the risk that, some kids that I would think that I'm like, oh, no, I have to bring you back home. I think when she was talking about the intersection, I think that's more about something coming in. So that was an animal. And it doesn't feel like a deer. It feels like a smaller animal that darted across that she overreacted to, if that's what you've felt as well.
That's what I thought also.
Okay. Great smile, great personality, fun. Did she always have her hair in the ponytail?
It was short. She kept her hair short.
Because I keep being it pulled back, is what I'm sensing here. But I just really feel like this is a person that just was full of life on so many different levels and just experienced life to the max. Not a person that was in fear, and a person that was in fear of, oh, I can't try that. I mean, this is the girl that would jump out of a plane with a parachute just because she wanted to have the experience. But when it comes to her driving, I don't feel like she took risk. I think that she was just having a little bit of a ride before she got home. And unfortunately, that overcorrecting is what did it. What do you want to ask her?
Oh, gosh. Is she happy? Is she like, they say that she's home now? Is she's, surrounded by loved ones and doing what she loves to do?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it was interesting. I feel like you have a lot of people around her over there, but she's like, it's just about me. Okay. That's my sense with her. She's like, you're here to talk to me. Absolutely. This is my belief system. When they cross over, they are okay because they're not dealing with the earth things here, but we miss them. We miss their physical being. What I think is important is knowing that she still knows what's going on. And, she sees the family. She's here because you asked her to be. Her personality is still really strong as well. Even bringing through the larger dog. Is it a golden retriever or I keep getting like the poodle and the golden doodles. What's the golden doodle connection?
She was an animal lover and we have friends with them, but the pets there might be one also. There could be one. There's actually several pets that are on the other side. So there could be a golden doodle in that mix. Yeah.
Unless she wants to talk about the family with the golden doodle. If the family with the golden doodle, have they been going through stuff, or would she want to mention something about them? Is there something going on with them?
Yeah.
Okay. So she may be bringing that up to say, I see what's happening in that family. And her heart feels like it's heavy. So in my opinion, there may be some struggles with that family that's going on. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So did they lose somebody?
Yeah.
Who passed?
It was my brother.
Okay. So that would be her uncle. She's laughing. She goes, yeah, I kind of kicked his butt when he got here. And she's like going like this, like, yeah, he's here too, but I'm really the one that's important. Okay. Is that her personality?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
And it's not that she doesn't love or care about others, because I feel like she's really a caring individual, but I feel like this is her show.
Yes.
This is my show. This is my opportunity. So what are you taking away today?
Oh, well, number one, you grabbed Cara's essence 100%. That was chills up and down my body. I know everything you've said was about her, the way she was, her personality was just so spot on. So it's just amazing. Yeah.
Well, she is definitely a strong person. Like I said, before I even started, she's like, I was murdered. And her humor for pretty much is like, that animal did it. Like, like they shouldn't have been there. That's kind of her personality of taking that on. And not that was a correct analogy about her passing, but I think that's just her personality and her way of sharing and saying things, for sure.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it's nice to hear that, because I felt strongly from the beginning that she swerved for an animal, and there was questions with the police investigation that it could have been something else, but I really feel confident that it was an animal.
Yeah, I just feel a 16-year-old, and we try to avoid hitting an animal. I mean, that's just how we are. And she loved animals. But I kept seeing her just overreacting, which I understand as a young, even, driving all these years, I'm going to do the same thing. And being at night and not experience is really the downfall for her. Well, I'm just really sorry because we're not supposed to bury our children, but you are on here today to share and help other families, and just know that she's around with you. Okay. Thank you.
I completely connected with Cara today. Deb captured her essence completely. I was worried because Cara is a tomboy. In the past, I've had readings where people thought she was a boy, and Deb came in with she's strong, she's athletic, but it's a girl, and she's free-spirited and friends with everybody. Deb caught just everything, her complete who she was, and immediately, and chills up and down my body. Everything that we've felt in our heart happened. Deb just verified today, so that's really, really healing. She was kind, number one, but she was funny, and she was always active. She's 16 years old, so a typical teenager might be with their friends a lot or on their phone a lot. She was outdoors all the time, always running, playing, skiing, sports. She would go over to friends' houses if they were all just hanging too much. She would come home and let's go to the field and play. What's funny is Deb had mentioned that even though she got in an accident, she was only 16 years old, that she was a good driver, and she was. She had you had to hire a person to drive with them before they got their license, and this man commented to us that she was the best driver he ever drove with. And she also loved to ski, so we would take her up to the mountains and make her drive in snowstorms, going over mountain passes, passing 18-wheelers, because we knew that she would do that as soon as she got her license. So it wasn't her inability of being able to drive, but I kind of believe her love of animals. And she would probably say in jest, that raccoon got me. So the biggest thing when a child crosses is, where are they? Are they somewhere? And you have to know that. And so a medium bringing Cara through so clearly is just that validation. I know she's still alive. She's not here physically, but she's still alive, and that is the first step in healing for me. And then learning that you can also learn to yourself connect with them, perhaps feel them, recognize their signs, and maybe even the messages behind the signs. I completely believe that Cara's walking by my side, guiding me, and and helping me make it through this life and helping me find my purpose here.
Thank you for watching Grieving to Believing. I am always grateful to be the messenger to connect a parent with their child. We hope that you subscribe and share the show with someone who may need healing from a loss of a child, so they too can find peace. Remember that when your loved ones are on the other side, they are still by your side. I'm Deb Sheppard. We'll see you next time.